Look at their hands. When divers enter the water, they don't clasp their hands together. Instead, one hand grabs the other with palms spread open, pressing into the water. This is their secret to making the splash disappear. Seems counterintuitive. We might imagine that clasping hands together to form a point would create the smallest splash. Decades ago, that's what people thought. But then some athletes discovered it wasn't so. Some found that spreading the palms open upon entry often resulted in a smaller splash, sometimes even making it disappear. You might wonder about the principle behind this. It does seem counterintuitive. Here's the explanation. Scientific calculations have shown that, simply put, pointed objects entering the water surface create larger splashes than flat objects. So to minimize splash, the hands need to create a flat surface. That's why the palms are spread open to create a flat surface. The specific principle is that when a flat object enters the water, the surface spreads horizontally. Then the surrounding water pushes back, reducing the splash. But when a pointed object enters, it causes vertical movement in the water surface. There's nothing to counteract this upward movement into the air, so it forms a splash. Over the years, many hand gestures have been developed based on this principle to control the splash. The current technique is considered the most reliable and optimal. What people might not realize is that controlling the splash isn't actually the hardest part, nor is it the most crucial for scoring. It's just easier for ordinary people to observe the size of the splash and assume it determines the outcome. That's not the case at all. The athlete's movements in the air are actually the most challenging part. For example, the 207C dive is considered a nightmare for divers. Take Kwan Hongchan, who's excellent at minimizing splash, but often struggles with this particular dive. Almost all of her public major mistakes have been on this move. In fact, nearly all Olympic women's diving competitors fear this move. We may have all heard of the 207C code to some extent. So what exactly is this 207C dive, and why has it become everyone's nightmare? What makes it so difficult? This is where it gets even more interesting. The full name of the 207C move is back 3.5 somersaults tuck. Its main challenge lies in the word back. Athletes performing this move on the 10-meter platform need to face away from the pool and dive backwards. What many don't realize is that backward somersaults in the air are very prone to errors. You can't see what's in front of you, so it's not easy to spot your target, leading to potential blind spots in positioning. There's only 1.5 seconds in the air from a 10-meter platform. If there's even a slight problem with positioning, the speed and rhythm of the somersaults in the air get disrupted. This then affects the position and angle of entry into the water. A tiny error can lead to vastly different results. This move also requires tremendous explosive power. Without it, jumping backwards could result in hitting your head on the platform. Moreover, performing backwards is like walking. It's fine going forward, but once you try to walk backwards, your body's sensations can easily become confused, and fear can set in. Jumping backwards from a height of 10 meters requires overcoming significant psychological fear. Finally, there's another challenging aspect. As we know, our female divers are often very young. They frequently face issues with physical development. For instance, Kwan Hongchan started competing in the Olympics at 14. These past few years, she's been going through puberty. From the last Tokyo Olympics to the upcoming Paris Olympics, her body has been growing each month. She's grown 7 centimeters taller and gained 6 kilograms. As we all know, athletes' movements ultimately rely on muscle memory. Once your body changes, your muscle memory becomes less accurate. A slight difference in feeling can lead to completely different results. So they need to constantly adjust their movements. This applies not just to Kwan Hongchan, but also to Chan Yushi and others. They all have to overcome the changes brought by physical development. We all know how difficult it is to change muscle memory, and they have to keep adjusting. Considering all this, you can understand just how challenging it is for these young athletes.